disappointment all around. What's up with your boy? Speaking of some fantasy chatter here, and then we'll get back to this boring-ass NFC 2-0 conversation. This Quincy Enunwa?
Quincy Enunwa from the University of Nebraska.
Stud?
Very good game. Well, we'll see. Is question. He seems to be. If you're in a PPR league, I would recommend maybe taking the chance on him because he does seem to He does seem to get a lot of reception. He is getting looks from Fitzpatrick so far early in this year.
6 targets, 6 catches, 92 yards. Eventually,
I think in a PPR league, he's a good pickup.
I think you're right. I think you're very right. I think that's a 15, 16-point night for him against Kansas City. There's the off chance that those corners in Kansas City are going to be busy with Brandon Marshall and with Eric Decker, who thankfully Marshall seems to be okay. But this Enunwa, he's a big-ass kid. You put him in the slot, 6'2", 225 pounds. He's physical, fights for the football, has the presence of mind to turn around and get back to the ball. I saw him do it about 3 times the other night. Good football player. I like this kid. He is listed day-to-day right now with a little bit of some, bruised ribs, if I read that right earlier. But I like him. Ooh, I like her.
I love the kid. Another kid on the Jets. I love Jalen Marshall. His explosiveness. That kid could be very special. He's got one Achilles heel though, and it will drive anybody crazy who's a fan. He did this when he played in Columbus for Ohio State. He just cannot hang on to the football, and it's a problem.
Yeah,
it's a problem.
He's got some.
This kid has. I actually think it dropped those kids around. I think he would have been picked a lot sooner because he has the level of athleticism and talent.
Yeah, he does.
It's just something you got to get over. You got to be able to secure the football, especially at this level, because once defenders realize that is an Achilles heel of yours, you're damn right if they're not going at it every single time. If they see you carry and they knew you have problems carrying the ball.
That's right.
It's something they will pinpoint and they will go after. Veteran safeties especially.
Yeah, I don't disagree with anything you've just said there, Chippewa. So speaking of your New York Jets, they're coming off their first win of the season, which was pretty helpful. What about the New York Giants at 2-0? Is that a surprise?
I'll wait. I think on the Giants. I don't know yet. The Cowboys gave them that game the first week. It was a tightly contested game. I think Dallas just became. How should I say? The Cowboys have that thing about them where it's like they're kind of like the Jets. They're synonymous in this way where at the end of the game you're just cringing the whole time. You're like, okay, how are they going to blow this one?
Yeah,
what are they going to do?
That's synonymous with a lot of bad teams in the NFL. The Raiders make my stomach hurt every week. Just
like, what are they going to do? How are they going to give this game away? And they did it. They found a way. Terrence Williams, I touched on this last show, for a veteran receiver to make that mistake is kind of inexcusable.
Problem.
I don't know. The Giants I'll wait on. I don't know how good they are. They beat the Cowboys, division game, and they won on the road. That's pretty impressive. Then they win. They beat a Saints team who I don't think is very good. They beat them 16-13 too. I was not expecting that score. I was expecting some points in that one.
I was too, and for this Giants offense to not blow up, they scored a defensive touchdown, and that was it.
I do think by default the Giants could very well be. I don't know. I'm not going to turn my back on. I'm not going to turn my back on the Cowboys completely. And I think Philly's 2-0. I don't think it's. That's another team. I think it's more of a product of their schedule. I don't think they're that good.
Yeah.
But
it is. But
I don't know.
The Giants are a team that could easily be 0-2.
Yeah, they could. But I also think that's a team that's probably my favorite to win that division. Slightly edge it out.
Yeah, I'd be real shocked if anybody else does, but I think that's a team that could easily be 0-2. A block, they scored a touchdown, a block field goal on a Saints defense that all of a sudden goes into New York and turns it around. I don't know.
Talk about fantasy. I'm waiting, Odell. I'm waiting, Odell. I need it. I need you to start coming on now. I mean, it's been 2 weeks now. You want to make the argument you're better than Antonio Brown? I need to see it. It's been 2 weeks. I haven't seen that yet.
Seemingly they are just not hitting on all strides. They just don't seem to be. I don't know if it's now that Victor Cruz is back in the mix that they're forcing the ball all over the field a little bit. I don't know what's going on exactly. But it was a little bit weird to see this team not score a bunch of points against an assumed Saints defense that's supposed to suck. That for all I saw, actually showed up. But
I saw in fantasy, I saw I had Odell Beckham going against the Saints defense this week at home. I was jumping up and down.
I don't blame you.
I looked at it. I said, "That's it." That's all you can give me against the New Orleans
both
Saints.
those teams in daily fantasy because it scared the shit out of me that everybody was going to own Eli and Odell, and you're just going to keep pace with them. I still think that, as we discussed the cream of the crop in the AFC, I think the NFC, maybe not as cut and dried, but I still think that despite the 1-1 record, the Carolina Panthers are the best team in the NFC, period, end of story.
That's hard for me to dispute. I like the Arizona Cardinals right now, too. I
do, too.
I think, it's tough to, after a week one, maybe, the energy got you and home, and Bill Belichick always has his teams ridiculously prepared. They have a great game plan against you. So
who does? Who?
Bill Belichick.
Yeah, I know.
It's Belichick.
Yeah, it's for sure true. So we got some good ones coming up this weekend. We're coming up on our hour mark here, very close, very shortly. Who's Carolina have? That's actually your matchup of the weekend in the NFC, I think, is Carolina's at home against the Minnesota Vikings. You're going to find out what that Vikings defense is like. You're going to find out what kind of beating Cam can continue to take. That's actually a good game. I don't love Carolina laying the 7 points right now.
No. I don't particularly like that way. I'll wait. I'll think about that more.
Well,
but I think that's more of a product of Adrian Peterson not going to be available for the Vikings. But if you look at it, they've been virtually winning without him. Adrian Peterson's averaged like 1.6 yards a carry these first two games. He hasn't even been relevant.
I don't know that he has 70 yards this season.
No, he hasn't even. He's sure as hell not the reason they beat the Packers on Sunday night. That defense is very good. There's no two ways about it. It's a very, very good defense. But actually, and they did shut down Green Bay. But let's see what they do against Cam Newton now at home. That'll be a different It'll be a much different challenge for him.
You're going to find out if this Green Bay Packer team is for real now. We'll get into more of this stuff on Saturday. But Green Bay's at home against Detroit, 7.5-point favorite. You'll find out how good that offense is if they can come out and start dealing with Detroit.
That's a game I think Green Bay must have. They got to come out. They got to come out and take it to Detroit at home. I think that's something
they absolutely.
That's something they have to do, and I think it's a statement Aaron Rodgers at this point needs to make. I mean, we know, not that he really needs to, because we know Aaron Rodgers is legit. We know he's one of the best quarterbacks, if not the best quarterback in the league. No one's panicking on Aaron Rodgers, but I just think for his own brand, I think it's just something he needs to come out and say, "Hey, look, before you guys forget, I'm still the best."
Yeah, I hope so.
I'm allowed to have bad games.
This will be their shot to go out there and get it off and see what you got. A couple other things we'll get into as the week rolls about. We're up against our time limit here for the night. Thanks, everybody out there, for listening. And don't forget, it's still not too late, believe it or not. Real quick, Joe, we kicked off our league with Sunday Swim with our good friends at sundayswim.com. I rushed Sunday morning. I made a play that I was not crazy about, and I absolutely hated it, but I was all over the Baltimore Ravens laying the 6, and that blew up right in my face. You had a couple different plays, didn't you?
I had two. I actually, toot my fucking horn. I went 2 for 2.
Did you really? What'd you take?
I took
the
New Orleans.
We gotta go.
The New Orleans Saints plus the 4.5, and the Carolina Panthers minus the 13.5.
You did have the Panthers, and you laid that big wood. I like it, man. That's a good play. Remember, folks, get out there and sign up. It's still not too late. You can start a league in week 3. Sundayswim.com. Check out the app. They're also available in the iTunes store. It's a lot of fun. Everybody that jumped into it so far is real happy with it, and I know I am too. So that being said, Joseph, we're going to check in with you guys again tomorrow night. We're going to do a little bit more fantasy talk, have a prepared show for you. And thanks again for listening. We love you guys. Joe, anything else, man?
Take care, guys. Always a pleasure. Later.